This is chapter number 4, Tribals, Decus, and the Vision of a Golden Age. So, how did tribal groups live? So, I told you about the Jhum cultivators. Some of them were Jhum cultivating, some of them were still doing the hunting and gathering, that is, Akhetak and Sangrahak. Few of them were herding animals, and then few of them were actually doing the settled cultivation. So if I take you back, so some were doing hunting and gathering. This is a long back. If you start the evolution of human being, hunting and gathering is always the starting point. It was the starting point. So whatever there was in forest, it is for eating, it is for selling, for any purpose. It can be, to keep or to sell. So all these tribal groups, they were hunting animals, and also whatever is beneficial for eating and selling, they were gathering it. So they found that this forest is very essential for their survival, for their being. I'm talking about khonds. This is the khonds I'm showing, and this is from Odisha. Normally, these people are found in Odisha. So, what they will do, the group of people or the tribal groups, the men would go for hunting together. They will go together, and when they hunt, say a deer or someone, then they divide the meat equally amongst themselves. They also eat fruit, roots of plant, kandamul. You know, Previously also our ancient people, they used to eat fruit and roots, and they would cook food, and cooking of food, for that they will use oil, and this oil was extracted from the seeds of sal and mahua. I'll show you the mahua just now uh, in a bit. So seeds of sal and mahua, they will extract oil and they will make their food for medicinal purpose, because every human being will have some of the other problem. They use shrubs and herbs, jadi booty, shrubs and herbs, for any problem. If they have some cut or they are not feeling well, so whatever they gather, they will sell it to the near forest wherever they are living, the local market. They would sell their forest produce. So if you see the local weaver, bunkar, and the people who are working in leather, say field, that is leather worker, they will always come to khonds for, because they needed kusum and palash flowers to color clothes and leather. So in order to color this cloth and leather, they will always turn to khonds, because khonds will provide them these kusum and palash, right? So that, because they were getting it from the forest, the khonds were gathering it from the forest. So again, means most of the thing which are coming from forest produce, people were dependent on them. Now the questions arises, okay, palash kusum is okay, meat is also okay. What about rice and grain? We cannot eat food without rice and grain. Dal chawal, uh, roti. So rice or grains can be any. It can be uh, big grains also, like bajra, jowar. So what will happen? They will exchange them. That is, the tribal groups will exchange them with whatever they get from the forest in trade of rice and grain. So they will give their forest produce and they will take these rice and grains. And whatever they are getting a little bit money, because they would sell it to the local market, their gatherings, they will buy some other thing, and they will also do some jobs also. For example, the nearby village, because they were living in the forest, so nearby village, they will carry load, they will build road, and they will be labor in fields of peasants, that is the peasant farmer, they might have hire them as laborer to work in their field. But the problem is, whenever the supplies of the forest it shrank, means every time forest will not produce everything. If you take it out, it will take some time to reproduce it. If I They'll go for laborers. But if I tell you about Baigas, see, these are Baiga tribals in Madhya Pradesh. These Baiga tribals, unlike the others who will go outside for laborship, they are very reluctant. They don't want to work for others. They are just saying that forest is for them, they are for the forest, and if they work as laborer, this will be below their izzat, their dignity. They will never become a laborer. Okay, so this is about certain tribes, for example, Baiga. Now, tribals would want to sell, also buy certain thing. There are certain goods, certain produce they would buy and sell. Okay, which is not produced where they live, in their locality, wherever they live. Certain things they can produce by themselves, but for certain things they have to be dependent on certain people, like the traders, like the money lenders. So the traders would come to trade, that is to sell them something which they don't have, and to buy which they have in excess. So traders would come, and also money lenders would come, Mahajan. Money lenders would give them cash, they give them easy loan. So every one of us wants money. So the tribals also want money, because there are certain things they can only buy with money. So the money lender would give them some money, and traders will give certain things, but the price will be very high. The traders will give stuff in very high prices, and the money lender will give cash or money in very huge loan. For example, the traders, if they are giving it for 10 rupees somewhere else, they will give in 30 rupees to the tribals. And the money lenders say, if they are giving say 100 bucks or some money, they will charge very high, huge this interest on this loan. That is, the traders and money lenders, they are seeing an opportunity to make money with these poor tribals. Let me tell you, the money lenders will give loan, and they will give 100, and they'll say, okay, you return us 150. So this 50 rupee margin, or I'm just giving an example, this was huge. Money lenders, they can charge any loan or any interest on any loan. Okay, so now the tribals were in both the ways. They are giving high prices, and they are giving heavy interest on the loans also. So in the market and commerce for these tribals, that is market because of the traders and commerce because of these money lenders. Now these tribals, they actually slowly and gradually went into debt, lot of debt, that is loan, and poverty, because when you don't have money and you have to buy certain things in very huge price, you become poor. So they became poor and in a lot of debt. So finally, these tribals were seen, these money lenders and traders, as what? As evil outsiders, as those people who are coming from outside community and harming their lives in terms of debt, in terms of money, in terms of poverty. That is the misery what they are facing. Tribals are only because of these traders and money lenders. Okay, some of them jhoom, some of them hunting gathering, some of them herding animals. So these herding animals, if you see all the examples given in this book, is about herding animals is shown here. Okay, some would rear goat, sheep, some would rear cow, even yak, and oot, camel. So depending upon what they produce, like the milk, like the meat, and they have the fur, good furs also. Wool can be made because of their fur. And since this milk is itself a starting product, it can be made as butter, it can be made as in the form of ghee and all those formations, asli ghee, etc. Now, Some of the tribes will do herding. So they will herd animals and they will rear animals. That is, they will get all the stuff from them and they will sell all the stuff they are getting from them. So pastoralist, that is, pasture means a big area where a lot of grass is there. So they will herd cattle or small animals like sheep according to the seasons. Different seasons they will herd different animals, and they will put them into grazing in these pastures. So they are basically pastoralists. Okay, wherever they see the grass, once this grass is exhausted, they'll change the position. They'll go to some other area. So basically, they keep on moving from one place to another. Depending upon the season, they will go. Depending upon the availability of grass, they will go. Khana badosh. They are not staying at one place. So these are one Gujars of Punjab Hills. I showed you already in the earlier discussion. This is one Gujars of Punjab Hills. Okay, Punjab Hills. So you can relate this with Punjab also, somewhat Jammu Kashmir, somewhat below area. Then these are Labadis of Andhra Pradesh. So Punjab Hills, one Gujars. Now coming to the Kullu, Gaddis of Kullu, they are also Gadariyas. That is, they are also rearing and herding sheep, etc. Now Bakarwals of Kashmir, if you happen to go from Jammu to Srinagar, in that part you will see mostly these people, and they would walk hundreds of kilometers with all these disciplined animals, and people would respect them. They stop their rasta or road, but still, they'll just go. So they were herding animals, right? These are all tribal groups. Okay, I'll just come to this discussion, but before that, let me tell you that there were some tribals, they were doing actual cultivation while settling down. So they were actually settled and they were doing on the same land, same cultivation, means cultivation on the same land. So before the 19th century even, various tribal groups, they started settling down at one place and then cultivating their fields in one place, only one place, year after year. What does it mean? They are not now moving from one place to another. Earlier they were doing, all the tribals mostly they were doing. So they got the rights over the land. In many cases they got the right of that land. In many cases, for example, in Mundas, Mundas of Chota Nagpur, the land belonged to whole clan. Kul means whole group which is staying at certain place. The land belongs to everyone, each of them. I am talking about Mundas of Chota Nagpur. And not only Mundas, there are various other tribals. They think that land belong to everyone. But sometimes, always it happens, some will become powerful, some will not. So these who acquire power in that tribe only, they will become Mukhya or chief. So when they acquire enough power or economic power and muscle power, they'll become chief, and others, they will rent the land. So other will be tenant basically of these chiefs. Okay. So all these are good, but what British officials are thinking? British officials were thinking at this time that those people who are settled, like the Gonds and the Santhals, so these are Gonds and Santhal, these tribes are civilized, they are more disciplined, because the British officials were not liking whom? These people, because these people are moving every time. There is no fixed place. One time they are here, sometime they are there. So those who are moving here and there, British officials, they were not liking them. They are calling them as wild, savage, barbar, not good people, right? Okay. Only the disciplined people for Britishers is those who will stay at one place and live. Okay. So this is how British idea was. Now I'll take you to a very important discussion here. It has a lot of content, it may be asked. See, whole year, how the tribe women, how the tribe men, will do what and when. In which period they'll do what and when. So here the name is Verrier Elwin. He is a British anthropologist. Verrier Elwin was a British anthropologist, and he actually lived among the famous tribes like Baigas and Khods. So Verrier Elwin lived with these important tribes for various years. To be precise, in 1930s and 1940s, more than 10 years of span. So he lived with them and he understood their life quite well. How actually they work, how actually they all year around, what is their schedule, what is their timetable, what women would do, what men would do. Okay, that is what the content of this discussion is. What is he wrote. Okay, so this is regulated by a calendar, whatever is happening, and division of task. And men would do certain task, women would do certain task. In which time, what will be done? He gave a very detailed analysis and discussion. So there is a word going to come. Now there is a word going to come, Baisakhi. And this is known as Vaisakhi also, and this is the Sikh New Year. And this is a spring harvest festival, not only celebrated in Punjab, but also in other parts of northern India. This is also 13th April, which marks the formation of Khalsa Panth by Guru Gobind Singh Ji in year 1699. Okay, so these are various names. So Mahua seeds will also come here. So these I just wanted to show you because we earlier also discussed about Mahua and Sal. So these are the Mahua seeds which I wanted to just highlight here. Okay. So now one more word will come. This in Madhya Pradesh, the jhum cultivation area is called as Bewad or Bewad. And there are certain words going to come like Chat, Baisakh, Jet, Ashad, Sawan, Bhado, Kuar, Kartik, Agahan, Poos, Magh, Fagun. So all these are basically months. So Chat is from March to April. And if you go to winter, from October to say November and October to December, it would be Kartik and Agahan. And December, January also Poos. So depending upon the months, these names are being used. And Verrier Elwin said that what happens at what time. So let us start with the start. In Chat, that is at this period, March to April. So in Chat, women went to cut stalks which already reaped. So whatever thoot was remaining, women would collect them or cut these stalks. And men would cut large trees. And they will go for a hunting. That is a ritual hunting they would do. We are talking about Baigas and Khonds. So this is specifically about Baigas and Khonds. The hunt will become at Purnima, full moon. And this hunting, they will use bamboo traps. They will use traps or bamboos. And this is used for hunting as far as Baigas and Khonds are concerned. Women would gather sago, tamarind, imli and mushroom. Right? So women would gather these. And Baiga women will gather roots of kanda and mahua. Kanda is not, pyaz, because in Maharashtra, kanda is pyaz. So kanda is basically a root, kandamul type. Okay. So this they will do. And then along with this, Baigas, what they will do, they actually were best hunters. They were regarded as best hunters. Baigas are best hunters. Shikari, they are best shikari. In Baisakh, as I just told you, the firing of the forest. After that, there were some unburned wood. So whatever unburned wood is there, women would gather in Baisakh. Okay. And in Jet, the sowing will take place, but hunting will still be going on. From Asad to Bhado, men would work in field, and in Kuar, see here, Kuar I am showing you. So Sharat Patjhad you can call it as. In Kuar, fresh fruits, beans, phaliyan, fresh fruit phaliyan, beans will ripen, and in Kartik, Kutki, they will actually ripe, ready for use. In Aghar, every crop is ready now, and in Pus, winnowing will take place. Pus, at this time, dances and marriage will take place in Pus. In Magh, people would go to Bevar, that is the Jhoom, and hunting gathering was also taking place. First year it's okay, second year they get more time for hunting because few crops had to be sown and harvested. But third year they need to get some crop in addition with the forest products. So these are all the accounts of very relevant. One more picture is Santhal girl carrying firewood in Bihar 1946. Okay. So now you have a fair idea how these different people will doing different work, and we will talk about now the actual effect of British rule. So how did colonial rule affect tribals? So when the colonial rule came, how their lives got changed, how their life actually changed. I'm talking about different tribes. So what happened to the tribal chief? See, every tribe had a chief. It becomes automatically sometimes. So before the British government, the Mukhia or the chief, tribal chief, is holding a very important position, and he was a very important people. He was economically sound also. He had economic power, and also they have right to administer also, because they can control their territories as well. Okay, along with this, because they can administer and control, they need to have their own police. So they will keep their own police people. Okay, and they also have all the right to decide the local rules for the land also and the forest also. So in order to manage forest and land, they will lay down their own rules and regulations. These village chief or the tribal chief. Okay. Now, but when the British came, they said, tribal chiefs, okay, keep your land. We will not mind it. But whatever you are administering, Prashasan, all the powers you have, no. You have to do everything on the basis of our laws. The laws, the rules and regulation now will be ours. Like that is the British rules and regulation you need to follow. Okay. And also you have to give us money. You have to give us, pay some tribute also. And one more thing, you have to keep your people, because you are like Mukhia, you are chief. You have to keep all the people under you or who are following you in discipline. They don't become unruly. You have to keep this in mind. This is what British people were saying, these chiefs. Okay. So what happened to the shifting cultivators now? Those people who are going one place to another. So in British rule, always they lay down their own rules and regulation. So for them, if they want to implement these, they want people to stay at one place. They don't want that these people to go here and there, change position. That is, they want them to be a settled down peasant or farmer. For example, if someone has an address or a phone number, you can easily identify them. You can send letter to them. But if a person is moving here and there, sometime he is in Jammu Kashmir, sometime Bengal, sometime Tamil Nadu. So in order to get money, revenue from these peasants and farmers, in order to put kar, tax or lagan on them, these peasant farmers should be staying at one place. That is what British wanted. So what they did, they started introducing certain land settlements. In land settlement, they said that they measured the land, they defined the land. If you remember, Mahalwari and Rayatwari, all these were happening. So they said, okay, you have to give revenue. This much is revenue which you owe us, and this much amount you have to give us. So some peasants now were regarded or declared as landowners like zamindars, and others were automatically become tenants of these zamindar. That is, these people will work for zamindar. Okay. So the basic work was, the tenants will give rent to zamindar and zamindar will give revenue to the company. or to the British officials. British government, these revenues will be sent by zamindar, who in turn will collect from tenant. So British in jhum cultivators, they were not very successful, because the area where jhum cultivation was going on, it is ancient time, because they don't have any option. The water was not there, the soil is dry, even stepwise is very also difficult. Stepwise cultivation is also difficult, which people see. I am showing you the northeast area where jhum kheti is taking place. So the plough cultivation and hal bal, like the plough cultivation, bullock cultivation, means using bullock, it was not possible. Again, let me tell you, the water was very less, scarce, and the soil is quite dry. So there is no other option other than jhum cultivation. If someone has to eat something, he has to cultivate something. So when the British saw this problem, and the northern eastern state, they insisted, they put a lot of protest against what they want. They wanted to do the traditional practice. So finally the British saw that there is no possibility that we can tell them to do something else. So they allowed some of the people, tribals, to do and to continue the shifting cultivation as their ancient practice. Okay, I want to show you certain pictures here. This man is making his house. He is from Nishi tribe of Northeast, and he is using, and a whole village will come to make this using wood or log. This is a picture of Bhil, Bhil, Bhil women of Gujarat, and they are working in the forest. Bhil women cultivating in a forest in Gujarat. This is Andhra Pradesh picture. This is a picture of Andhra Pradesh, and rice is they are working on. Okay, now forest laws and their impact. How did this British put forward forest law, and how this impacted and affected the tribals? This we are going to see in the next discussion. Till then, thank you so much. Take care of yourself.